Hello my foodie family, how's everybody doing this evening today? I'm going to be making tomato soup. So I have a pound of tomatoes here, and all you're going to do is just cut them in half, and you're going to be roasting them in the oven. Okay, give me a sec here, almost done. You face them up. Okay, so I am going to do 2 tablespoons of the extra virgin olive oil. This one has sunflower on it, and just drizzle over it. Trying to get them all. Okay, that's 2 tablespoons. I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of the balsamic vinegar, any brand that you like. Okay. To this, I'm going to sprinkle some salt. Some pepper. And you can repeat the pepper and salt, it's depending on your liking. I like a lot of pepper. Okay, just give it a mix. Make sure it all gets in it. That way they get roasted, rolled nice and pretty. And then you're going to cut up an onion while this is in the oven getting roasted. I'm going to cut up an onion, and I'm going to dice it, and I'm going to put it to cook till it's translucent, so I can get all this back together in there, get it all cooking and stuff. Okay, just like that. Let me rinse my hands real quick. This olive oil is making my hands super soft. I love it. Okay, give me a sec. I'm going to put them in the oven. I have some other stuff in the oven going on. I'm going to be making a Cornish hen. And I'm also going to be making, I went blank. I'm going to be making some asparagus wrapped in bacon. And the Cornish hens are up here. I'm going to make some tomato soup. I'm also going to be making a baked potato. I'm going to be eating good tonight. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting the onion for the tomato soup. And I will be posting the recipe, the link to the recipe. So that way you don't have to be taking amounts right now. I'll just put on the link. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. I need all the subscribers I can get. I also have a Facebook group that's Mama's in the Kitchen Cooking and Baking. And I will put all the links to all that. I also have a Pinterest, so that way if you have the recipe, you can save it for later. Okay. And it's 1 whole onion. You can get a small, or you can do half an onion. You don't have to do as much as I'm doing. But this is what I prefer. 1 whole onion. And it's not as small. It's more like a medium onion. So that's what I'm going to do. Medium onion for me. But you can go small. And in case you wanted to see here, all I'm doing is just cutting. I don't know if you can tell. The onion has little lines going across, all across. That's the way you want to start cutting at first. And I'll go slow so you can see that I'm just cutting across. Nice, you can go pretty quick on this. It's real easy. Then when you get here to the end, just flip it to the side and continue cutting. You'll still see the lines right there. Careful not to cut yourself. And then when I'll get it now, the opposite from the slices. And I'll start cutting down. You can go as thin or as wide as you want to. Totally up to you. See? And it's already little pieces of onion. Now I put a tablespoon of olive oil, but you can use any oil you like, but to give it the flavor that you want to get out of this food, I've been using the extra virgin olive oil, but mine has the sunflower oil with it. Okay, that's all to it. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the skillet. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Okay, so make sure you heat up the oil. And then to that, you're going to add your onion. And don't forget to mince your garlic. You need some garlic too. So when this finishes cooking, you're going to have once it caramelizes, you're going to add the garlic to it. Cook it for about a minute. Okay, let's get that cooking. Getting it to sweat a little bit, then we're going to make sure it caramelizes. Okay, so the onions are caramelized. I added the garlic to it, and I cooked it for another minute. To this, I'm going to add fire roasted diced tomato, and each can is 14.5 ounces. Let's see here. And you're going to let it come to a boil. Sorry with all the movement, I have it in my hand. And it's okay if you see that dark color down there from the onion, that's fine. That's all flavor right there from the onion. Okay. To this, you're going to add a cup and another quarter cup of your chicken broth. Or chicken stock if you made it, or you can buy it. Totally up to you. Okay. Okay. And you're going to salt and pepper to taste. And I'm using sea salt. You can use regular table salt or whatever salt you have around. But this is what I prefer. I'm only adding a little bit right now because I can always come back and add more. So you want to taste it. You don't want to be just adding and adding and then you haven't tasted it. Now pepper, I like a lot of pepper. So I have no problem with that. Okay, I still have the fresh tomatoes with the balsamic vinegar in the oven. As soon as those are roasted and this is boiling, I'm going to add it to it. Okay, give it a mix. Now you can have tomato soup just by itself. You can have it with some bread. You can have it with some crackers, some croutons. I like mine just by itself. You can, so just everybody's different. Okay, I'm gonna let this come to a boil. And also to this, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of basil leaves that have been grounded. Not even grounded, they're kind of still a little chunky, I guess you want to call it. But I'm going to add that. If only you could smell the smells in my kitchen right now. It smells delicious. Can't wait to dig into this. Okay, let that go ahead and simmer. Lower the heat. And I'm going to let it simmer for 20 minutes. So the roasted tomatoes are out. They look beautiful. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add the juices of the balsamic vinegar and all that as well to the tomato soup right here. Okay, let me set this aside. give that a quick mix, and we're gonna let this simmer for 5 minutes, okay? And get all these flavors incorporated. We're almost done with this. It smells good. Okay, and then lower the heat to a medium. I don't want it too hot. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. I'm turning off the heat. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, just kind of to cool off a little bit, because I'm going to be using the hand blender, and I don't want it to be splattering and boiling and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. Okay, I let it cool off a little bit. It's still, because it's on the stove, it's a hot heat. So it's gonna still kind of boil, but it won't be popping at me as much. Let's see if I can get this in here. I don't want to get it to touch the heat at all. Okay, so I'm going to be using my hand blender. I'm going to tilt this over a little bit because I don't want it to scratch too much on the pot. And basically this is what I'm going to do, okay? I'll be back when I have it all done. Okay, so I turned it back on. And as you can tell, it's bubbling a little bit. Just keep on mixing it. I'm going to do this for about 5 minutes. You could put a lid on it. There's still a bunch of chunks in here that I didn't get. And that's fine because I'm going to put this through the sieve. And then after this 5 minutes, we're almost done. I'm going to blend it one more time. But this is perfect right now, the way I want it right now. Okay, I'm going to get all those little chunks over here to the side and blend those here in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to let it cook. Now that everything's blended, I'm going to let it cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, so here it is 5 minutes later. And I let it simmer for 5 minutes, and I've been mixing it all this time. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more blend to get some of these chunks out. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to get the tomato sauce and run it through the sieve. You don't have to, but I like doing this because I just want tomato soup. I don't want little chunky tomato chunks in there, or onion, or garlic, or anything like that. I just want the plain tomato juice. So this is what I'm going to do to it. And then whatever I have pulp left in here, I'm going to run the hand blender through it again and see how much more I can get out of it. And then I will show you the results. Okay, so I've already put it through the sieve, and this is what I'm left with. The skins and stuff like that. And this is what I want. Hold on, let me clean this off. Get any little bit that's left at the bottom. Don't want to waste any of it. Okay, at this point, you want to taste it to see if you need a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, or anything like that. Okay, and this is exactly what I want right here. I'm going to let it cook off for a little bit. Let me give it a quick taste. Okay. I think I might add a little bit more pepper to mine. Okay, I have it on a medium setting. I'll let it cook. Now it depends. You don't have to add. I added a little bit more of the chicken broth so I can blend the tomatoes again, so that's why it's so thin. But that's fine. That's the way I like it. You don't have to have it that thin. Now to this, I'm going to add half a cup of heavy cream. And give it a mix. And of course, this will change the color to a lighter color. I'm going to add some pepper. You can always add more pepper to your bowl, but I want it to cook. And I'm just going to sprinkle just a tad little bit of the onion powder. Not much, just a sprinkle. And remember, salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. Let's get this going. And I do have a spoon here on the side. I'm not actually tasting it from here. Okay, let me get a little... Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to just let all those flavors mix together, blend in. And in 20 minutes, if you bring it to a quick boil, then you can do half the time. But I want to let it simmer. I want it to cook slowly. I have time, so I'm not rushing it. And I will let you know how it comes out.